Alrighty, this is an intro to A Streetcar Named Desire. Our essential question for this unit is, how does white superiority build a framework for America? So we wouldn't necessarily say that this is a diverse book written by a diverse author. It is written by a white man, Tennessee Williams, and its main characters are white. But I think we can talk about the way that whiteness is represented in this novel, in this play, and how that affects the characters and how it affects maybe the other people that are around these characters as well. So, briefly about the setting, we're in 1947, right after World War II. This play takes place in the French Quarter of New Orleans, and it's kind of like what you think about New Orleans now. Just think about that. It's pretty liberal, famous for jazz clubs. People stay up all night. People are eating, drinking, excess, all that sort of thing. There's multiculturalism. We're going to see some Hispanic side characters. There's a sense of sexual freedom. It's a very open place. This is in contrast to Laurel, Mississippi, where the characters Blanche Dubois and Stella are from. When we think about Laurel, Mississippi, we are thinking deep south, white superiority, large plantation homes, a history of slaves, very that southern charm, southern manners, southern propriety when it comes to it. And then also this feeling that women are supposed to be very chaste. Going along with that, I wanted to talk a little bit about old versus new money, because we see this play out in Streetcar and then also later on in Gatsby as well. So old money. When we say that people come from old money, it's generations of family wealth. So the family reputation is most important. They have gained their wealth from agricultural and or land owning. Okay, so think plantations, think slaves when it comes to old money. They are considered to be the highest social status because of their family name. But one thing that you have to remember is that generational money often runs out. And so even though they might be socially high on the ladder, they may not have as much money as they used to. And we definitely are seeing that when it comes to Blanche Dubois and the kind of end of the Dubois family legacy here. This whole old money system is symbolized by Laurel, Mississippi. New money, that is industrialism, investing, urban progress, people working in factories, people owning factories. This is the kind of the new way of America that started taking away from like that plantation land owning ideals. However, new money people are considered to be lower in social status than those who come from money, even if they have more. Okay, so even when people have lots of money, if it's money that they earned on their own, they would still be considered to not be as high up in the social sphere as families from old money. This is a concept that we don't understand very much anymore. And this whole thing of new money is symbolized by New Orleans, Louisiana. Names mean something. So just a little bit so that you can kind of remember some of these names. The street that Stella and Stanley, they are married. The street that they live on in New Orleans, it's called Elysian Fields. In Greek mythology, that means the land of the dead. Stella equals star. Stella and Blanche's childhood home, their plantation home in Laurel, is called Belle Rive, which means sweet dreams in French. Blanche in French equals white. Okay, these names are important in understanding bigger themes and ideas in the text. Then we have Stanley Kowalski, who is Stella's husband. Okay, he is an ex-army engineer from World War II, and now he's a factory parts salesman. Working class. He doesn't necessarily have new money, but he's aspiring to have that new money. He is of Polish descent. Blanche calls him a Polak often, which is a racial slur. There's a stereotype of Polish men during that time as being unintelligent, aggressive, thugs, or brutes. This is in contrast to the refined French background of the Dubois family. In Ibram Kendi's How to Be an Anti-Racist, I have this quote here. America must be kept American, President Calvin Coolidge said when he signed the 1924 Immigration Act. Coolidge and congressional supporters determined that only immigrants from northeastern Europe, Scandinavia, the British Isles, Germany, could keep America American, meaning white. And I want to emphasize this because when we think of the way that Stella talks to Stanley, calling him a Polak, we don't usually think about whites being discriminated against, but there are even categories of whites that we have to understand. So according to the 1924 Immigration Act, people that come from the United Kingdom, Germany, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland, these are the okay immigrants. Okay, these are the true white people. Now, people from Ireland, Poland, the Eastern Bloc here, Russia, right? Greece, right? Italy. Now, we probably would categorize those people as white now, but back in the 1920s and in even going to the 1950s, they would be considered inferior to anybody who is immigrating from Britain, Germany, or Scandinavia, which is Norway and Sweden and Denmark and Finland. And those are considered to be the only okay people. Okay? Even President Trump in 2018 said we should have more people from places like Norway. This leads me to this idea of ethnic racism. We practice ethnic racism when we express a racist idea about an ethnic group or support a racist policy towards an ethnic group. Ethnic racism, like racism itself, points to group behavior instead of policies as the cause of disparity between groups. Points to group behavior. Okay, so when you lump in ethnic group into having certain characteristics, then we are being ethnically racist. And Blanche does that a lot to Stanley in terms of the stereotypes that she has of people from Poland. And I want you to keep thinking about that, that whiteness we usually consider to be superior. And for the most part, especially now, right, being white is an advantage. It is a privilege. However, let's think about how people even categorize how white you are. And certain people who are considered whiter than others are also going to be considered superior. Ethnic racism creates hierarchies of value. And to be a white person from a certain place is going to be the top hierarchy. And not to say that now an Italian immigrant would be discriminated against. They used to be. Maybe they wouldn't be now. But there's still these hierarchies that are in place in our society. It's present in Streetcar. It's definitely present now. How is that functioning? How is that working to create a kind of system? And how does that system affect people? So I want you to keep thinking about that as we go on and read this play, and we see how Stanley is treated, but also how Hispanic people are treated too in this play as well. So going away from that a little bit, I want to go to the so just some symbols to kind of wrap things up. And then, of course, we'll be talking more about deeper themes and ideas as we go. So the title is a symbol. A streetcar named Desire is an actual streetcar in New Orleans named Desire. This is the streetcar that Blanche comes into, or she takes when coming to see her sister Stella and her husband Stanley. So think about desire. How does desire drive the characters? What do they desire? And other symbols to look out for is paper lantern and light. Blanche has a paper lantern. And how does light function in the play, especially in relation to Blanche? Remember, she's white. She's light. Okay, or at least she wants to be. And then also bath and water. Blanche bathes a lot. Why? Okay, so that is the intro to